They thought she was just another shy girl with nothing to say, just another silent black face sitting in the back row, always wearing that same gray hoodie pulled halfway over her head, eyes hidden behind thick braids. No one noticed her come in, no one noticed her leave. But the moment they began laughing at her, humiliating her in front of the entire school, was the moment they made the biggest mistake of their lives. Because beneath the silence, beneath the hoodie, and behind those quiet, watchful eyes, was a storm. And the storm had a name, Aaliyah Monroe. The first time Aaliyah stepped into the halls of Lincoln High, it felt like walking into a museum where she didn't belong. The floors were polished, the walls lined with posters of Ivy League universities, and smiling white valedictorians holding their acceptance letters. The students glided through the hallways in designer sneakers, AirPods, and curated attitudes, speaking in a mix of passive-aggressive whispers and TikTok slang. And then there was her, Aaliyah, whose presence seemed to silence the hallway for a fraction of a second before people returned to pretending she wasn't there at all. She didn't want to make waves. She didn't come to be noticed. In fact, she hoped she'd become invisible. Her mother had moved them to this neighborhood after scraping together enough from 3 part-time jobs, hoping the new school would mean a better education, better people, a better life. But better didn't mean kinder. By second period, Aaliyah already had her first nickname, Mute. By lunch, it had evolved to Shadow. By the end of the week, they started using another word, one whispered behind her back with mocking smiles: Ghetto. She was placed in honors English, advanced math, and physics, which only made things worse. Aaliyah was smart, top 5% smart. But being the only black girl in a room full of students who assumed she didn't belong meant every correct answer just made her more of a target. "Wow, didn't know we had a genius in the room," one boy joked after she corrected a miscalculation. "The teacher made on the board. You trying to flex or something?" Another said. She said nothing. Just packed her notebook, looked out the window, and stayed silent. They didn't understand it. Teenagers feed off reactions, likes, views, laughs. Aaliyah didn't give them any. And that, in a strange way, made her even more threatening. Lincoln High was ruled by an invisible social order, one more rigid than anything written on paper. At the top were the legacy kids, white, wealthy, loud, and often mean. Then came the athletes, adored, attractive, and tolerated. Beneath them were the student council types, the try-hard drama kids, and the social climbers. And somewhere near the bottom, somewhere they pretended not to see, was Aaliyah. She sat alone at lunch, every day, the same spot. Back corner of the cafeteria, earbuds in, eyes fixed on a worn paperback copy of The Art of War, not for class, but because her father once said, "If you understand war, you'll never need to fight." They teased her for that too. "Yo, is she reading a war manual? What, she planning something? She probably thinks she's some ninja or something." "Nah bro, she's just weird." They didn't know that she used to wake up at 4:30 a.m. every morning to train. They didn't know her father had been a kickboxing champion turned Marine, and she was his prodigy. They didn't know that for 7 straight years, Aaliyah had dominated every girls' division from New Jersey to Florida. They didn't know, because she didn't tell them. Because silence, she believed, was her best armor. The worst of them was Madison, blonde, rich, head of the school's dance squad, and mean in the way only someone born into privilege could be. She ruled her clique with an iron phone. What she recorded became law, and what she posted became gospel. Madison hated Aaliyah instantly. Maybe it was how Aaliyah ignored her. Maybe it was because she couldn't read her, couldn't scare her, couldn't get a reaction. Or maybe, just maybe, it was because Aaliyah reminded her of everything she secretly feared. Strength that didn't need approval. "Why do you always wear that hoodie?" Madison said one day in class loud enough for others to hear. "Are you hiding a wig? Or just scared of letting us see your face?" The other girls chuckled. Aaliyah didn't look up. She just stared at the math problem in her notebook. "Oh, right, you don't talk," Madison added. "Must be hard when your vocabulary starts and ends with whatever. Maybe she doesn't know how to speak," one of Madison's minions added. "Like for real, maybe she's like mute. A few students laughed. Aaliyah looked up just for a moment. Her eyes scanned Madison's face like a laser comm, cool, unblinking. Madison smirked. But there was something in Aaliyah's stare she didn't like, something unshaken. "Creepy," she muttered. The teacher walked in and class began. But the words didn't stop there. The whispers continued through every period. And when Aaliyah walked through the hallways, she could feel them behind her laughing, watching, waiting for her to break, but she wouldn't. She had been trained never to break. After school, she didn't go to the mall. She didn't join clubs. She didn't party. She walked home, past the luxury condos, past the security cameras, past the kids with TESLIS to a small second-floor apartment above a laundromat with a broken buzzer and stairs that creaked. Her mother worked night shifts at the hospital. Her little brother Malik was usually doing homework or watching cartoons. But in the bedroom, behind a door decorated with old martial arts posters, Aaliyah came alive. She would pull off the hoodie, stretch her arms, and wrap her fists in white gauze. In the small corner of her room was a heavy bag, an old one, patched and torn in places. Her father's initials D were carved at the bottom. She stared at it and punched hard. Jab, elbow, low kick, roundhouse, spin. Again and again and again. Each strike came with the rhythm of her memories, the smell of her father's gym, the way he yelled "guard up" with pride, the way he watched her win tournament after tournament before the cancer took his strength and then took him. That night, she punched until her knuckles bled through the wrap, until her breath came in gasps, until her bones remembered who she was. She was Aaliyah Monroe, national kickboxing champion, and no whisper in a hallway could take that away. The breaking point came on a Friday. It was a spirit day at Lincoln High. Everyone was dressed in team colors, face paint, music, and noise. The perfect chaos to hide something cruel. Madison and her clique had a plan. They'd recorded Aaliyah the day before, humming to herself in the library, offbeat, soft, alone. They posted it that morning with the caption, "Guess who thinks she's Beyoncé now?" It went viral by lunch, but they weren't done. That you won't go up to her and snatch that hoodie off, one of Madison's friends dared. "Bet," Madison grinned. Aaliyah was sitting at her usual corner table, eating quietly rice and chicken wrapped in foil. She had her earbuds in, nodding to a rhythm no one else heard. Madison strutted across the cafeteria with a grin, her phone recording in her hand. She walked straight up to Aaliyah, reached down and yanked the hoodie off her head. Aaliyah flinched, but she didn't move. Everyone turned, phones pointed. For a second, Madison froze. Aaliyah's hair was braided close to her scalp in tight cornrows, her eyes sharp like polished obsidian. There was a scar over her right eyebrow. Small, old, but visible. Madison laughed anyway. "Aw, come on, don't look so mad. We're just trying to give you a makeover." And then she did the one thing she should never have done. She touched Aaliyah's cheek and laughed. That's when Aaliyah stood up. No words, no threats, just silence. But the room felt it. The air changed. Her shoulders relaxed, not with fear, but precision. Her feet adjusted. Her hands lowered slowly to her sides. Every fighter knew that stance. Balanced, grounded, coiled. Madison stepped back. "What are you gonna do, hit me?" She laughed nervously, still recording. "In front of everyone?" But Aaliyah didn't move. She leaned forward, looked Madison in the eyes, and said the first words she'd spoken all month. "Do you really want me to?" For a moment, the cafeteria fell into a strange kind of silence. It wasn't peaceful. It was the silence before lightning strikes. Madison, still holding her phone, suddenly didn't know what to do with her hands. Aaliyah had only said one sentence, and yet it rattled her more than all the comments she'd thrown in the past month. "Do you really want me to?" Madison scoffed and backed away, half laughing, trying to brush it off in front of the audience that had now fully turned toward them. "Oh, relax. No one's fighting anyone," she said, pretending to be the composed one. "I was just joking. Geez." But Aaliyah didn't move. She stared directly at Madison, not with anger, but with something colder: control, confidence, a dangerous kind of stillness that fighters develop when they've trained long enough to know how much damage they could do, and how much they're choosing not to. "Delete the video," Aaliyah said. The words were calm, low, and absolute. Madison blinked. "Excuse me? Delete the video." "You can't tell me what to do," Madison barked, trying to regain the upper hand. Aaliyah didn't flinch. "Do it, or I'll give you a better one to post." That was the moment everyone pulled out their phones again. This wasn't the weird, quiet girl anymore. This was something else. This was someone who had drawn a line and dared someone to cross it. Madison looked around at the sea of faces and slowly lowered her phone. She laughed nervously and mumbled something under her breath. But she knew. Everyone did. She'd picked the wrong target. By the next morning, the video had gone viral, just not the one Madison posted. Someone else had recorded the entire cafeteria. Confrontation, the glare in Aaliyah's eyes, the tone of her voice. Madison stepping back, suddenly small. The clip was posted on a student-run TikTok account titled "At Lincoln Leaks," with the caption, "Turns out the mute girl doesn't play." By Sunday, it had over 400,000 views. The comments were filled with speculation. Who is she? That look in her eyes, she's been through some stuff. Madison finally got humbled. Plot twist, she's like a black belt or something. And then someone found it. An old YouTube video from 3 years ago, a clip of the National Youth Kickboxing Championship. It showed a 12-year-old Aaliyah Monroe knocking out a 16-year-old in under 30 seconds. The caption read, "The prodigy, Aaliyah Monroe becomes the youngest girl to win national gold." The internet did what it does best: connect the dots and amplify the noise. By Monday morning, Aaliyah Monroe wasn't invisible anymore. She was a legend. The hallways of Lincoln High were different now. Heads turned as Aaliyah walked past. Some smiled nervously. Others avoided eye contact. But no one whispered. Even the teachers seemed to approach her differently, offering nods, hesitant glances, as if they suddenly realized they'd been sleeping on someone extraordinary. But Aaliyah wasn't interested in attention. She still wore the same hoodie, still took notes in silence, still sat at the back. Madison, on the other hand, had disappeared. Her clique no longer crowded the lunch tables with their usual glee. She was humiliated, and though she never formally apologized, the rumors swirled that her parents were not happy about what had happened, especially now that her actions had made national rounds. "Yo," a voice called out in the hallway. It was Marcus, the captain of the basketball team. He jogged up beside Aaliyah, holding his phone. "You're like, for real, a champion? That video of you in the ring? You dropped that girl like a rag doll." Aaliyah shrugged. "It was years ago. Still, that's crazy. You're like a real-life superhero or something. You ever think about competing again?" She looked at him. "Not really. Why not? You'd destroy everyone." Aaliyah paused. "It used to be about something bigger, not just the fight." "What was it about?" "My dad," she said. Simply, Marcus nodded. "Still, you got it. Don't let it go to waste." 2 weeks after the incident, Aaliyah received a letter in her locker. No name, no sender. Just a folded piece of paper. "Underground match, Friday, 8 p.m., Old Rec Center. You'll know if you're ready." She read it twice. Something stirred inside her chest. Something she had buried long ago, the itch. The rhythm. The fire. She hadn't fought competitively since her father died. But now something about the timing felt right. That night, she stood in front of her mirror, unwrapping the gauze on her knuckles. Her reflection stared back stronger than before. Wiser. Time to remember who you are, she whispered. The old rec center smelled like sweat and history. The lights were dim, the walls plastered with old posters of forgotten tournaments. And in the center, under a single spotlight, was a ring. Aaliyah stepped in slowly. A few dozen people surrounded the space, murmuring. Word had spread about the quiet girl who shut down the queen bee. Now they wanted to see if the legend was real. Her opponent was taller, lean, older, clearly experienced. But Aaliyah didn't flinch. As the bell rang, everything else melted away. She didn't hear the crowd. She didn't see the lights. She only felt the rhythm, the breathing, the dance. Her father once told her, "Don't fight for anger. Don't fight for applause. Fight because it's who you are." And tonight, she remembered, jab, counter, pivot, strike. Her opponent was good, but not good enough. By round 3, the other girl couldn't keep up. And with one final roundhouse kick, clean, smooth, explosive, it was over. Silence. Then cheers. Aaliyah didn't smile. She bowed, unwrapped her gloves, and left the ring. Monday came again, but the halls didn't feel so heavy this time. She passed by the same lockers, same faces. But now she wasn't just tolerated. She was respected. One freshman girl even walked up and whispered, "Thank you for standing up, for being strong, for us." Aaliyah blinked. She hadn't realized anyone else was watching, but they had been. All along. The Monday after the underground fight felt like the first breath of spring after a long, bitter winter. Aaliyah walked through the halls of Lincoln High, not as a shadow, but as a presence, solid, undeniable. The same kids who used to snicker now stepped aside. The ones who once whispered insults now avoided her eyes, or worse, tried to befriend her. The silence she used to hide behind had shifted. It was no longer a defense. Now it was a force. Still, steady, respected. But Aaliyah wasn't interested in revenge. Not in popularity, not in applause. She wanted something else, something that had nothing to do with the bullies, the TikTok comments, or the viral fame that now seemed to trail her like a shadow. She wanted peace. But peace, like anything else worth having, doesn't come without being tested again. Asterisk, her performance at the underground fight didn't just earn her applause, it attracted attention. Coach Tran, a well-known martial arts trainer who ran a respected fight academy in the city, showed up outside school one day. He was in his 50s, small-framed, with eyes that saw right through you. "I saw what you did last week," he said, waiting outside the gates like a quiet storm. "You've still got it, raw but focused." Aaliyah blinked. "You were there? I used to watch your father fight. I know that look, that precision. It runs in your blood." "I'm not looking to join a team." "I didn't say anything about a team," Tran replied. "But if you're interested, I have a student. She's undefeated, state level. We're looking to put her against someone different. Someone with history. You'd be paid, no cameras, just skill." Aaliyah hesitated. "Why me?" "Because the only thing more dangerous than someone who fights for glory," he said, "is someone who fights with nothing left to prove." Asterisk, that night, Aaliyah stood in her room staring at her father's old gloves. Malik poked his head in. "You going back in the ring?" Aaliyah didn't answer right away. "I don't know," she said. "I stopped for a reason." "Because of Dad?" She nodded. Malik came closer. "But what if fighting doesn't mean forgetting him? What if it means remembering who he helped you become?" She looked down, her fists tightened. She had been strong before, but now she was no longer just her father's student. She was becoming her own fighter. Maybe it's time, she whispered. And so she began again. Coach Tran's gym was brutal. No sympathy, no soft landings. Just repetition, sweat, bruises, balance, breath. Her opponent, Tran's protege, was named Sloane Varela Tall, fast, ruthless, known for knocking out girls with a single spinning back kick. Rumors said she once broke someone's nose in under 10 seconds. But Aaliyah didn't care about rumors. She trained with purpose, not to win, but to see what she had left inside. Each morning, she woke before the sun. Each evening, she iced bruises, while Mullet did homework beside her. And every night, she spoke to her father's photo beside her bed. I'm doing it. And I'm doing it for me now. Asterisk, the match was set for Friday night. Not underground this time, official. Small gym, clean ring. Spectators limited to invite only. Aaliyah walked in wearing a black hoodie with no name. Sloane arrived in bright red warm-ups, followed by an entourage with phones and fanfare. She's nobody, Sloane said loud enough for Aaliyah to hear. Just some viral fluke who peaked at 12. Aaliyah didn't respond. Just like before, she let the silence carry. Her asterisk, the bell rang. Sloane came out swinging fast, sharp, flashy. Her footwork was designed to disorient. Her hits were meant to intimidate. Aaliyah blocked most of them, slid past others. Took 2 hits, maybe 3. She didn't return fire. Yet. Coach Tran raised an eyebrow from the side. Asterisk, Sloane charged again, confident now cocky. But Aaliyah wasn't just dodging anymore. She was studying. Her foot slid at the perfect moment. She leaned, twisted, sent a clean jab under Sloane's guard. Then a second. Then a third. The crowd leaned forward. Sloane blinked. This wasn't the quiet girl she expected. This was a technician. Asterisk, Aaliyah had waited, calculated. Now she moved. She unleashed the rhythm. Elbow, low kick, retreat. Knee, feint, reverse. She danced the way her father taught her, not wild, not reckless, but purposeful. Sloane tried to catch up, tried to counter. But Aaliyah saw through it. And in one final burst, she ducked a wild hook, pivoted, and hit a clean roundhouse to the ribs. Sloane dropped to her knee. The bell rang. Silence. Then roars. Asterisk. Aaliyah stood in the center of the ring, calm, not smiling, not gloating. She bowed once. Just once. And left. Outside, Coach Tran caught up. You could go national again, you know. I could, she said. But will you? She looked up at the stars. Maybe, but not for medals. Then for what? For the girls like me, the ones who get called quiet. The ones who eat alone. The ones no one sees until it's too late. Tran nodded. You're dangerous, Aaliyah. I know, she said softly. That's the point. Asterisk, back at school, a poster went up on the wall. Women's Self-Defense Club, led by Aaliyah Monroe. Within 2 days, it had 20 sign-ups. Even Madison showed up. Aaliyah didn't ask why. Didn't turn her away. She simply handed her gloves and said, let's begin. Because she knew, true strength isn't about showing off what you can do, it's about helping others find theirs.